I have another question about your government, and it relates very much to the current policy of the present government to go to 43% emissions and 82% renewables by an astoundingly early date of 2030, which, from what's been happening in Europe, will be an absolute disaster in terms of prices and the ability of people to pay for electricity, and what this will do to what's left of manufacturing, but also impact on agriculture and so on. But this will have an additional effect on new mines and possibly on existing mines. And I was drawn to look at your bill. You introduced a bill in 2015 to take away standing in environmental cases. Now, I don't think the Commonwealth should be involved in environment. The Constitution is quite clear. It's not a matter for the Commonwealth. But anyway, the Commonwealth is now involved in our environment, principally because of the activists on the High Court who've given the Commonwealth that power. And what your legislation would have done would have stopped environmental activists from getting involved in every case where there's an attempt to license a new mine, so that what happened at Roy Hill, where they had to get, I think, about 40,000 approvals to start the mine at Roy Hill, which so endows the politicians with an enormous amount of revenue. Your legislation would have stopped environmental activists being able to go into court and claim standing. That is the right to be involved in a law case. And Malcolm Turnbull, to his great discredit, didn't take that up after the election when it lapsed. He could have easily put that in the bills for the double dissolution if the Senate had rejected it again and got it through after the double dissolution. Now, this is a serious issue, because if the Albanese government goes ahead with this, we're going to find that what Mr. Bant wants will happen, that new mines will stop in Australia.
Exactly right, David. It's one thing for the government to say that they're not going to ban new coal and gas developments, but the activists using the kind of lawfare which is enabled by the particular provision of the EPBC Act that you mentioned, the activists will use lawfare, the busybody activists will use lawfare to effectively make new developments impossible. We saw what they did with the Adani mine in Queensland. They brought action after action after action and held it up for the best part of a decade. Poor old Mr. Adani had to invest more than $1 billion before anything actually happened on the ground, just to try to overcome all of these things. And good on him for staying the course. And really, it was only the 2019 election outcome where the Morrison government did campaign strongly, or really Senator Matt Canavan campaigned very strongly in Queensland in particular for the Adani mine. It was really only the outcome of that election which finally broke the logjam and got the thing approved. So look, I like everyone, David, we're all conservationists now. We accept we've only got one planet and we've got to rest lightly on it. I certainly want to see emissions come down as far and as fast as possible, but legislating a particular target by a particular date is going to, I think, impose massive additional costs on our economy. And yes, by putting these targets into legislation, it's basically open season on fossil fuels at the hands of the green activists, and I think that's got a lot of peril for our country's future.